So on this slide, we see, I guess, all of the things that we expect from a traditional LMR type network, or mission critical network, if you prefer, that we might not necessarily associate with a classical commercial network technology. Now, of course, one of the things that we would expect on both is the individual call. So we might think that's relatively easy to facilitate between two networks over the IWF, the ability for one person to call another and have an individual call. However, of course, we associate on the LMR network this being more likely to be a push-to-talk call. So, of course, that has to be incorporated in the IWF, this mission-critical press-to-talk facility that Les was just talking about. Also, we see something which we associate with both types of network. In the LMR network, it's usually referred to as a short data service, tends to be a generic name for that kind of thing, or status message. You might have heard that expression. In the commercial world, we might refer to that as texting. Now, of course, on the LMR networks, we've been able to build dynamic text messages dynamically, but there's a slight difference. In the LMR world, we tend to have predefined status messages, predefined text messages, if you prefer, to be delivered across the network from one user to another or one user group to another. It simplifies the process and speeds things up if they're predefined. Now, I mentioned they're individual and then group. And here's the big difference. We have to support group calls. Okay, well, we've done that on the LMR, in the LMR world for years, for decades. But it's a relatively new concept to the commercial network world. They probably associate more with a conference call. But a conference call is the right sort of idea, but it's very resource intensive, using lots of channels. In an LMR network, we operate group calling much more efficiently to enable that facility. We want to be able to now to enable a group call to and from an LMR network, to and from this LTE network or 3GPP network. Something else we've been able to do on the LMR networks, and we'd like to continue doing, is linking groups or regrouping, where we can link two groups, maybe on the two different networks, even dynamically. So can we do that across LMR to LTE? And group attach, where we can already have a pre-existing group on either the LMR or the LTE technology, and can we then bring somebody in to that group, also maybe dynamically. Something else that's an issue and slightly different to the traditional cellular network is the idea of emergency calls and preemption, prioritization or interruption, okay, and call queuing as well, where supported. We tend to refer to those in the LMR world as transmission control, and it's something that's relatively new to the commercial network world. So that needs to be supported as well by the IWF. And last but not least, a really hot topic, which obviously has massive security implications to some user groups, is this whole topic of encryption. Can we encrypt network to network? That might appear to be something you might consider to be straightforward. And, you know, why not? The mobile phone networks, commercial, have been encrypted for some time, as have the LMR networks. But I'll talk more a little bit about that shortly. We'll talk more about that shortly. Expand on that. So those are the things that we'd like the IWF to be able to do between the two technologies.